everybody. Thank you so much for joining in to the Just Be Creative pod. I'm Katie, and this is my husband, Christopher.
Hi, I'm Krist, and I am a full-time marketing manager and graphic designer, and my wife here is Katie, and she is owner and operator of my sister and I photography. So she's a portrait photographer. That's what she does for money.
So what are we talking about tonight, babes?
Well, enjoying being creative. Or enjoying the act of being creative.
You're gonna talk on the podcast about enjoying something?
Enjoying anything, yeah.
Do you enjoy being creative, babes?
Oh man, this got deep real quick. We'll come back to that. We'll put a pin in that. Do I enjoy being creative? That's maybe a different thing than what I wanted to talk about tonight. I don't know. We have a big list of topics on our Trello board for things that we're going to talk about eventually. And I didn't want to talk about any of those things. So I was sitting on the back of my car and thinking about life in general. I don't know what I was thinking about, but maybe just thinking about what I wanted to record about tonight. And I just thought, you know what? Like, I don't want this podcast to only be about how to have a job. Or the aspects of working in the creative field or this, that, or the other thing. A lot of what we talk about does apply to that, but I just missed the table with my elbow. A lot of what we talk about does apply to that because it's, part of the reason we started the whole podcast is because we both do relatively similar things and it's conversations we have all the time, back and forth. So it made sense for us to just talk about it and record it.
Yeah.
Today I just kind of wanted to have a shorter little talk, possibly, about enjoying I guess we could talk about both aspects. I was thinking more enjoying the act of creation versus enjoying being a creative, quote unquote, or being creative. I don't know how to answer that second one. Do I enjoy being creative? I don't know that I would consider myself creative.
Or considering yourself someone who enjoys things.
Right.
What does joy feel like? That's a joke. He is a joyful person on the inside.
Silently joyful. Yeah, like I was happy on our wedding day, the day our first child was born, and our second child. I like pizza. Still pretty happy around good pizza.
I was about to say, you get happy on vacations.
Yeah. But am I happy? Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a difference between joy and happiness. But this is way deeper. This is why the topic is not that. Because no, I don't enjoy being myself. But can I have fun or can I enjoy being creative in the act? Yeah. Because that's kind of the whole thing. Like, why do I do the work that I do? It's
because of all the money it brings in.
Yeah. I'm rich.
That's a joke.
One of the reasons I do what I do is because it's more likely that I'm going to enjoy my day-to-day job, my output, and whether it's my 40-hour-a-week work or way more specifically my side work. Like, I could have done any number of other things if I was just gonna go get a job for money. And I know I just said we're not just talking about jobs on this podcast, but if you are someone who does something for a creative job, like, there's a reason you went into it. Like, you enjoyed working in the photography field, like in the studio and things like that.
I do.
I mean, we had a conversation whenever we were first semester of college. And I said, like, if you could do anything with the rest of your life, what would you do? And do you remember what you said? You don't remember this conversation?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because the first semester at LSU, way back in 2003, Your first major was not business. Your first major was
psychology.
Yeah. and I don't know if this was like a watershed moment. I feel like it was. We had a conversation in my parents' driveway, and I asked you point blank, like, if you could do anything for the rest of your life, what would you do? And you said you would be a photographer.
I did.
And the reason you decided to... I don't want to skip over that. But yes, that is what you said. You said you'd have your own photography business.
Oh.
And that's what you're doing now. And that's the reason that you went into... You were already in school, and you switched to a business major, and you were going to do like an entrepreneur business major for that reason, because you wanted to do photography.
I do remember deciding that, but I didn't know it was because I wanted. I mean, I guess that played into it. I didn't think it played into it that much. I guess I felt
changing your major.
Yeah, I guess it was more like what I remember of having that decision to change my major to business was twofold. One fold was a business major. I didn't have to take any labs, and I didn't have to write any papers. So one fold was just being lazy. The second fold was I can remember thinking, I don't even have to be that great of a photographer if I know how to run a business. And I can build something successful. If I could just be, the photographer I worked for at the time, I thought was the best photographer in the world. And I was like, if I could just be half as good as he is, but know how to run a business, I could do this. I could make this happen. So.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe where a little bit of we bring different aspects of personality, or not necessarily personality, to this podcast, but you're definitely more on the entrepreneur, and I'm more the artsy-fartsy creative person.
Like, I feel like I'm a creative out of necessity. I have to force myself to be creative. I feel like my background as far as working, what I did before I started studio was accounting. And I feel like I bring a lot of that. Is that right brain or left brain?
It's all made up.
Okay, it's all made up. Whatever there is. That more is what I feel like I bring more into my photography. It's more analytical. It's more, these are the rules, I'm following them. And I have to really stretch myself to be creative. And I feel like I have a creative job out of necessity, out of the things I want in life. I like the flexibility of it. I've always wanted to be a mom and a homemaker, and this allows me to still do that. I don't like having a boss. I don't have to ask anybody for time off. I don't have to ask anybody permission to go on vacation. I don't have to ask permission to spend money.
Except for your husband.
I don't have to ask anybody anything. So I feel like it's not so much my creativity is more of a necessity thing, born out of necessity. But then I don't feel like that's true, because I feel like everyone is creative. I think even people who don't think they're creative are underselling themselves, because I think it's in our nature.
Including me?
Yeah. Oh. It's in our nature to create. We are created beings made in the image of God. And part of being made in the image of God is that creativity that God has. He's put creativity in us. He didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think.
If you want to go there, but I couldn't.
Yeah, no. Like, work and cultivation is part of humans. Like, that's part of our DNA that's built into us. So there's different aspects of that, because I can look at somebody who maybe is like a pipe fitter or whatever, and it's a super technical job, but they still have to think in a certain way creatively, right?
Correct.
So, I think that, we're built to work, so we kind of go mad if we're not doing something. And cultivating is taking things that are already there and like making them better, and you cultivate a garden, right? Like, you didn't create the seeds, but you're making it grow. You're helping it grow.
Yes.
And that's what, no matter what your job is, what you do for work, or what you do day to day, like that, you're in those that's your mode. And it's hard for me to be creative. Like, you said, it's hard for you to be creative. It's hard for me to be creative. I struggle over it. And I don't know that I ever reach it. And I don't know that anything I've ever done has ever been good. But what is good? Like people like it, at least for a short amount of time, some of it. But then does that mean if people don't like it, then it's not good? I don't know. But I know that a lot of the stuff that I'll make things and at the end of it, I don't like it. But I enjoyed making it. And it got me, maybe it got me somewhere, maybe it didn't. So I think that for some people and even for me, like there's the work you do for work, and then there's the work you do for you. Sometimes those two things are the same. And whenever those two things are the same, that's awesome. So I think that we just want to talk about like getting out of your own way, how to enjoy the struggle, how to get past that, and just talk in general about what are things that people can do or what we can do to actually enjoy the creative process or creating stuff.
Start off by trying. Get started.
Yeah.
Just make something. Just be creative. Just be creative. Pod.
And I do actually have a story behind the name of the podcast, and I'm not going to tell it now. But you're going to have to, if you're listening right now, you're going to have to go back. You're going to have to follow at least until I tell the story, because I'm sure that's captured.
We will reveal it in episode 13.
Episode 13, so that's 9 episodes away. We recorded a podcast called Your Work Sucks, But That's Okay. So I think a lot of that goes into just do something. Just get started. It's okay that you're not as good as you are. You can get better. And we did a whole podcast on that topic. So go back and listen to that, and we go much deeper into that aspect.
Okay. You want to talk about challenging yourself?
One of the ways that we get started is by giving yourself a challenge, and by having a goal or a task at hand, which is sometimes you can enjoy doing something because sometimes you just don't feel like, I don't have anything to do, so I don't know what to do. So give yourself a goal, and then you will work towards that. And that's one way to motivate yourself to start at all. And then also to have that feeling of finishing something. And feeling like you finished something or worked towards something, even like I said, if you don't like it by the end, you've at least done something. And you'll feel better about yourself and about your work if you complete something.
Yeah, the perfect example is these curtains behind us that I hate. I'm really struggling with these curtains. This is it's supposed to be a good idea. This is just so the neighbors don't see me. So these are we've been in a closet for 10 years. And I'd put them up so the neighbors couldn't see inside the house anymore. We just moved in December. So there's actually really no excuse for that because we've been here since December. And I'm just really struggling with these curtains. And you know what? I just need to make the goal to pick out curtains this week and just get them. And make sure there's a return policy on them.
Yeah, and to return them before their policy's up.
And that is very important because I actually have already bought a pair and forgot to return them in the window. And now they're just sitting in the bedroom.
And this brings us to my next point.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Which was, sometimes you want to set a goal and sometimes you don't. And even in that, give yourself the room to make mistakes.
Oh, I'm bad at that.
And not letting, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have a bad idea or to not know if the idea is going to be good or not and to follow it to completion, to find out in the end that it was bad, feel like you wasted your time, but you didn't. And just enjoy the process of doing it. And like I said, it's hard for me to be creative. Or, a lot of the times when I'm trying to be creative. So it's easy to beat yourself up. You're like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. But it's all part of it, just...
Yeah, I'm a very goal-oriented person. So if I feel like what I've done isn't good, I see that as a failure.
Right.
For sure.
But it's okay to... But
anything would be better than these curtains.
The Curtain Podcast.
It's just a perfect example of how I need to challenge myself more and just try some curtains. It's just hard. Listener challenge if you can find curtains for me.
I think all the extra fabric is going towards face masks right now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I guess you can enjoy the creative process no matter how it turns out. by allowing yourself... What is that?
It's just a pain that sounds so painful. I agree with you. Ugh. I like being right.
I've noticed that.
And I want to do something and it to be good.
That's a good goal, making good things. But trying new things or just doing random things, like sometimes you just... Have you ever just like taken your camera and just been like, this isn't going to be a good picture, but I'm just going to take a picture of this root in the ground, or, or like...
I'll do that. And like sometimes at the beginning of sessions, I'm like, I want to try this setting. I'm not going to try it for the whole session. I'm going to shoot the whole session like I normally shoot it. But the first couple of shots, I'm going to try this new thing. I'll do that sometimes. Mm-hmm. But it's only like just 4 shots at the beginning and then...
Right. But
bring it back in.
But you're giving yourself room to do something, and then you're also using that opportunity that you have to try new stuff and to play around with new things. Mm-hmm. So I think that's good too. If you find a rabbit trail in the middle of a process or at the beginning of a process or something like that, you can set it aside. You can explore that for a little while and come back to it. Because sometimes whatever your urge is where you're going to be the most fruitful in that moment. Like maybe you started something and it's okay to rabbit trail. Now, obviously, if you have a work and a project and a due date, that's like a real due date, you have to be mindful of that, of course. But sometimes I guess just like with the topic tonight, I don't know if this will be the best podcast we ever recorded. Probably not. I hope it's not. I hope we get better. But I didn't feel like doing any of the other things. And this is what I felt like talking about tonight for whatever reason. And sometimes it's just go off that way. And I think that came from just sitting on the back of my car and just like letting my brain loose. And one of the best ways, and this is another kind of thing I want to talk about to enjoy it, is just allow yourself to daydream. Daydream. Even if it's at night. most of the time.
You crack me up, even if it's at night. You can daydream even if the sun's gone down. It's okay. We're not legalists here.
A lot of times, I get my best ideas when I just stop what I'm doing, stop working, and just close my eyes, and you'd probably fall asleep. But close my eyes and just let my brain... One way that I've consistently come up with the good ideas throughout the years is to just I'll stop work, whether it was, at band practice, trying to come up with a logo or just a drawing or whatever, just to lay there and let my brain work through the process and see what's going on, or to hear, if it was a piece of music, I've got a chord progression and I couldn't figure out what goes next. Just quiet down, close my eyes, and play the music in my brain and let the music, and then my brain would figure out what was going on that my fingers couldn't. You don't always have to be like pen to paper, physically working on something to get it done. A lot of times going outside, going for a walk, laying down, closing your eyes, whatever it may be. No, that's called napping.
Ah, dang, I love naps.
Not the same thing. Stop work, but also just think about what you're working on in a different way. Can make it more enjoyable and give you better ideas and help you be more creative.
Well, the process for you being creative, the process for me being creative are kind of different. I feel like maybe it comes more natural to you. And then it's different mediums too. Photography, your illustration and graphic design. And I'm not trying to reinvent a wheel. You're not either, but you kind of are. But as far as portraiture goes, that's not true. I get creative with portraiture sometimes. But I always think I have to deliver what I think my client's expecting. And they're like, ooh, can we do this for fun? Like at the end, ooh, I want to try something new. At the end, I guess those come out of daydreams, or just like, ooh, just enjoying other people's work. Mm-hmm. Like, I think a good example for that is just, I absolutely love the old black and white headshots from old Hollywood, like that era, and noticing where they have the lights placed, and oh man, I can't wait to try that. And I've gotten to do that a couple times this year. Just enjoying photography and
enjoying other people's work.
Yeah, enjoying other people's work, and not enjoying it so I can copy it, but kind of. I mean, enjoying it. You're like, man, like these are stunning images, and how can I have stunning images too?
Yeah. So you enjoy being creative by looking at or experiencing other people's creative work.
Correct.
And allowing that to influence you, and then having fun. Like we'll keep kind of going back to, if you have a job you're supposed to be doing, you need to accomplish that.
Yeah.
But there's oftentimes, depending on what it is, wiggle room in there to have like self-expression. I mean, you think about stuff that inspires you, and then you kind of pepper that in, and it makes it a more fun experience for you, a more creative experience for you that you enjoy, where it's not just work.
Exactly.
So you're going to shoot a family. You have to figure out a new way of saying that.
To photograph a family works.
You're going to photograph a family, but you also you throw some fun stuff in there too for yourself.
And you do get occasional client in there who wants to do fun things. Who's just like the Sampsons. That one time they did like the paint session. Those some crazy stuff.
And a lot of stuff too, people like kind of going back to our last episode about showing your work. Until you show people fun, new things, they're not gonna be able to visualize it.
Exactly.
Some clients have come to you before with like a crazy idea or a fun idea because they've seen it already. But even then, it's still they visualize it and probably saw some version of it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So whether it's your work or somebody else's work, that's what's inspiring or allowing people to kind of see what you're doing. And you can get more of that kind of stuff if people like it, if you're doing it well, and And
I do think being comfortable has a big part in being creative. Definitely. Because if I'm comfortable with the client, if I'm comfortable and feel competent and feel accomplished in what I've gotten already, and I still have couple minutes left for the session, and I'm comfortable with this family, I could try it. So comfort and creativity, I think, kind of go hand in hand, and that'll look different for different people.
Yeah, because for me, comfort comes from
my cooking.
Comfort food. Maybe the medium that I'm working in specifically, or the specific pad and pencil I have, or the app that I'm using at the time, or whatever. If I'm working in something I feel comfortable in, then I'm going to be able to get more done more easily. Now, on the other hand, going back to challenging yourself, trying something new, a new medium or whatever it may be, a different camera or lens. A different
lens would be huge.
Yeah.
But I would never, if I got a new lens, I would never photograph a whole session with that new lens. That would give me so much anxiety. I would have to do like some of the session with the new lens, and then the rest of the session with my faithful lens, for sure.
Yeah, and trying something new or trying something old, there's benefits to both of those things, because one's exciting and one is comfortable.
The one's exciting and petrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be, and I see that. But then sometimes doing the new thing mirrors back and reflects on you on the old thing and makes you see it in a different way. Like, I think trying to learn new languages, or looking up the etymology of words, and things like that, which I can get into, it shows me new aspects of the current language that I've been speaking of my whole life, and it adds new flavors to it. It shows me like the histories of it, or the way other people are using it, or things like that, or the way other words are all connected together, and it sheds new light on all of that. And it just, trying something new makes even the old stuff fresh again.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's benefits in there's joy in your comfortable things, like your favorite pencil, or your being wrapped in your favorite blanket, or sitting on your favorite stool, or even like with a guitar. Like, I have my favorite guitar. Some songs I never would have written if I wasn't playing a different guitar, Like I never would have written that song or that riff with my normal guitar. Now I would write it with a different guitar and then always at a show play it with my like old trusty favorite guitar, but I wrote it with the other one.
Yeah.
Because it just adds a new element. Going back to something you asked me earlier and I wasn't prepared for. Do I enjoy being a creative? Does Krist Norsworthy enjoy being creative?
Does Krist Norsworthy enjoy being?
Do I enjoy being? That's an even deeper question. Does
Krist Norsworthy?
I think I do, but that's goes back to why I'm doing it anyway. Like I feel compelled to do it.
But yeah, and you definitely have that compulsion. Like no matter what you would be doing, you'd still
be doing it.
You'd still be creating. I know that.
And we would go even to, I don't know, I think art and creative stuff affects me in certain ways, and different from you, which is different. Okay. It's okay. Like, I enjoy going to an art museum.
Oh, my gosh.
Although, at the same time, I might get depressed.
That's the opposite of enjoyment. But if it makes you depressed, you didn't enjoy it.
But it affected me. And, like, it affected me in a way that...
Moved you.
I don't know. Sometimes I would... You remember when I would be that way.
I do remember.
Anyway, sometimes it's probably just because I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything or doing anything or...
I'll never be as good as Van Gogh.
No, I never said that. I didn't name my son Vincent. We named our son. So, what do you have to say about that? I don't know. I enjoy art in general. There's art and creative stuff that is going to be comforting in a dark mood or a happy mood, or may change your mood, or may bring you out my mood. And I enjoy, like, you enjoy reading spoilers for movies. I don't, because I want the artist to, they've set their canvas is time. And, you know, I mean, there's picture, there's music, there's voice, there's all those kind of things, right?
And I enjoy it.
But they're telling it over a span of time, and they're giving you the information they want you to have at a very specific moment in time.
I enjoy it just as much as you do. I love it. I love their canvas. I love the storytelling. I love the music.
Yeah.
I love how they build it up. I enjoy it just as much. I just enjoy knowing how it's going to end. That's how I enjoy it. Because then it gets rid of all my anxiety. And then there's no anxiety there. I can just enjoy it. And it's okay, because I know that Loki is going to die. And now...
Spoilers.
I didn't say in what movie he dies in. Everyone.
All of them.
All of the movies. But now I can watch it and enjoy it. I don't have to worry about Loki dying, because I already know he's going to die, and I've gotten that over with. I've dealt with it, and now I can just enjoy what I'm watching.
Yeah. But you shouldn't.
You can't tell me what my truth is. How to enjoy something? I know how to enjoy.
Everybody enjoys things differently.
Yes.
I just prefer to let the artist...
And I prefer to already know what the artist knows.
And in closing...
You're the moody one, though.
Oh, yeah.
Not me.
I didn't say I wasn't. But yeah, so I think that I'm happy to be a creative, because it is a form of expression, and it although the most enjoyment I've ever gotten out of expression of any kind in terms of creativity was through music.
I'm sorry, babes.
Being part of a band, like, there's nothing.
You didn't enjoy it as much as you think you did.
No, I did. The best aspects of it, of course, like creating the music, is fun. The people enjoying your music and those buying your t-shirts or whatever, like, that's fun. But there's something about 4 or 5 people up there playing the same thing, and I don't know, I would say there's nothing comparable to it. But in terms of like being in the moment of something happening. There's nothing I've experienced anything like that in terms of just pure enjoyment of the actual export of creativity. I don't know how to say it.
We fought before every show because you were moody.
That's a whole other thing.
Maybe when you're really happy, you're moody.
Now, there's a reason I'm not doing music anymore, and there's a whole lot of other things that go on into that, and that's not what I'm talking about right now.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to feel sorry. Like, that was a thing that I had at that time that I don't anymore.
So sad. I just want you to have all the things.
Yes, well, thank you. But yeah, like, if I could do that right now and it fit into our lives, I would.
Do you think you should listen to a podcast on how to fit music into your life?
No, and that's the thing. I don't think I could manage it because it's, I don't know, for whatever reasons. But
do you think you understand now why your dad didn't do music for so long?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
So,
because he does it a lot now, but he didn't for like 30 years. So
yeah, just to tell the audience what we're talking about, Chris's dad used to be a musician. That's the word I'm looking for.
Guitarist.
Chris's dad used to be a guitarist and used to play a lot and then just stopped.
And I said I would never do that.
We all say all the things before you become a parent, all the rules. And your dad didn't play guitar for like 30 years. And now he plays all the time again. But he doesn't have young children in the home anymore. And part of the reason why he gave up guitar is because of how much it consumed his life.
Yeah. Also, carpal tunnel for me.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't help because it hurts.
Yeah.
It's a physical thing as well. Yeah.
Well, if you ever want to start a band, I'm a mean trumpet player.
Wait till the end. Anyway, so I didn't mean to bring the mood down. That's just
what you do.
Yeah. Because I'm a creative, I guess.
And I'm not a creative. See,
you are. I'm joking.
Because I don't go to art museums and get sad.
No, you get frustrated.
I get art museums and I'm like, when can we get out of here?
I want pizza.
I want pizza. Yeah, I get it in Chicago, I wanted pizza, and in New York, I wanted pizza. But I will say I went to 2 different museums in New York on 2 different days. We devoted a significant portion of our New York trip to museum watching.
In New York, you went to 2 different museums?
Yes, 2 of them. One on one side of the park and one on the other side of the park.
Oh, no, we went, no.
Yes.
We went to, we didn't go to MoMA, we went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and then we also went to the Museum of Natural History, which is not an art museum.
It's a museum, though.
It is a museum.
I am so much of a non-creative that I lump all museums into the same bucket.
Oh.
But I went to 2 museums in New York.
You did go to 2 museums. Perhaps that is what you said and I misheard you.
If only we were recording to go back and look on it.
Replay. Your wife is right. Shut up. These aren't all the ways. Those are just something I wanted to talk about. And I kind of wanted to hear what you had to say about it.
You know, everything we're talking about reminds me of this quote by Alan Cohen. I just wanted to read it. It says, "There is a virtue in work and there is a virtue in rest. Use both and overlook neither." So I know we talk about working a lot and like just do the work, but we haven't really talked about resting a lot. And there's virtue in both. We're made to work, but we're also made to rest.
Ooh, I have a difficult time with that. That'll be another podcast.
But there is something to having a restful mind or taking a break. And taking a break could mean taking a nap or going for a walk or working on something else. That's not taking a break if you work on something else.
Again, I think we both need to have a discussion about what resting actually means. Because
not very good at that. I'm very good at taking a nap every day. So obviously, I'm good at resting.
Literally every day.
Literally every day I take a nap. It's true. I hope that we talked more about enjoying being creative and not too much about not enjoying being creative.
If you have any ideas on how to be creative or enjoy that creativeness.
If you have anything that you do where you're purposely being mindful about being creative.
Or where you're mindfully being purposeful about enjoying your creativeness.
Let us know because we need some help.
We're on Instagram at JustBeCreativePod and Facebook at JustBeCreativePod.
And we have a website too.
It's www.justbecreativepod.com.
And we have a website too.
It's www.justbecreative.com.
Stop talking like that, please. We have a website also. And
why are you talking that way? Why you?
This is how I always talk.
All right.
Okay. We have a website too, and it is www. No one even puts the W's.
I was being silly when I said.
We have a website, and it's justbecreativepod.com.
Before we go, I just want to say to check out Katie's blog post on her drive-by shootings that we mentioned a couple times. BatonRougeFamilyFun.com. We'll also have a link to her blog post, which is really good and made me emotional, even though I'm a moody person. We'll have a link to that in the show notes as well. So, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And enjoy being creative.